Hello everyone, I'm Katrien van Marsenille. I'm Marketing Director at VeriPark, and I would like to welcome you all to this webinar, as well as my colleagues who are present here. You can see we have Girish Kashyap, who is our Pre-Sales Director, Boemil Hianek, who is General Manager for VeriPark Germany, and Zubair Ahmed, who is General Manager for the MEA region. As you can see, we are all live in the webinar, but you will notice that some parts have been recorded since we are all still working from home, as I'm sure many of you are. We didn't want to take any risks related to bad internet connections, so there will be some live parts and there will be some recorded parts. A few practical things before we start. So if the control panel is in your way, you can always collapse it by using the orange arrow that you see here on the screen. You can control your audio in the audio drop-down menu, and you will also see a questions panel where you can submit your questions during the whole time of the webinar. We will take some time, or we will have some time at the end of the webinar to answer some of your questions. We will probably not be able to answer them all live, but we will send you an answer if we don't get to your question. So now, Boemil, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for your attendance, and I would like to welcome you here today. I'm Bohumil Hianek. I'm the General Manager of VeriPark Germany. I think today still many of us are in quarantine or and we are working from home. But still, it is great to communicate and interact digitally, so thank you all for joining us today. As you probably already know, at VeriPark, we help financial institutions to accelerate their digital transformation on their digital journey. With over 20 years of innovation and financial expertise operating in more than 30 countries, we are fully dedicated and specialized in financial services. Today, we will talk about banking during the COVID-19, and we will go through solutions that help financial institutions to navigate this unprecedented situation. We see that COVID-19 has disrupted many of the long-established norms of the banking world. Digital transformation has accelerated significantly in last decade, driven by changing customer behavior and by regulation. Still, none of us have probably expected the amount and speed of change that we live through now. As Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella said recently, we have seen 2 years worth of digital transformation in just 2 months. I believe that this bold statement reflects the experience of many of us, many of our banks globally. According to a McKinsey survey, consumers in Brazil and China are expected to use digital and mobile channels 31% more once our normal life resumes after COVID-19. We are witnessing an increase in usage of digital channels for both communication and interaction with clients around the globe. In Italy, visiting branches for transactions is expected to reduce by 13%. In Nigeria, mobile banking is expected, the usage is expected to increase by 44%. These statistics clearly show us that now, more than ever, customers need uninterrupted digital banking services. It is time to become simpler, faster, and expand the digital bank offerings. The road ahead feels uncertain, especially now, but one thing is clear: the change is here, customer behavior changes, and digital is the way to go. The pace has picked up significantly. As VeriPark, we are in this together with you, and with our digital banking solution, we can offer and ensure that your employees can work from home, stay safe, and be available to meet the needs of your retail and business customers. Your organization can acquire and onboard new customers without the need to meet them in physical branch. Your customers can manage, service, and optimize their finances fully remotely via internet or ideally via the mobile banking. Now it's my pleasure to turn to our pre-sales director Girish Kashyap to talk about our digital banking solutions in more detail, and we will start the live demo session. Catherine, handing over to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for this introduction, Bohumil. And as you said, we're now moving to the main presentation of this webinar.
Thank you all, and welcome once again to this webinar. It's an absolute pleasure meeting all of you virtually. Let's take a look at the kind of digital banking solutions that VeriPark is now focusing on as a response to the current situation. What we will try to cover today in our webinar is a brief overview of VeriPark, followed by a discussion on the digital banking solutions offered by VeriPark. These include digital origination and KYC, omni-channel servicing, digital sales, digital lending, digital collection, and digital branch. We are more than happy to answer any queries and questions that you might have. Who is VeriPark? VeriPark is an IT solutions company focused purely on banking and financial services and has been doing this for 21 years now, and today stands at 600 employees globally spread across 15 countries, serving customers in 30 plus countries. What are the digital banking solutions offered by VeriPark? VeriPark has looked at its set of solutions across three major customer segments: retail and micro, SME and commercial, and the corporate section. And for these end customers, it is trying to provide digital solutions across a set of channels that these kinds of customers prefer in their dealings with the banks. Digital origination and KYC is offered to retail, let's say across mobile, online, kiosks, to SME and commercial across mobile and online. And for corporates, it is essentially important for them to use the solution for KYC renewals, which supports uploading and providing documents through the digital channel in order to complete the KYC process. Omni-channel servicing, again, mobile online contact center for retail and micro, mobile online contact center for SME and commercial, and online banking for corporate. And while omni-channel servicing itself is an old subject, it is becoming more and more relevant today. And what we are seeing is an enrichment of functionality in areas of enabling end customers to apply for various products, maintaining and updating customer information, and for corporates in the areas of secured email or secured inbox. Digital sales, with customers refraining from visiting branches or reducing their branch visits to absolute necessary visits, means that it is now more than ever imperative for banks to reach out to its customers. And one of the mechanisms of doing that is to use sales agents. And for that, sales agents need to be enabled with the power of CRM, but now on devices of their own choice, being either mobile phones or tablet devices. And hence we see the use of tablet applications for digital sales agents. These tablet applications not only serve the purpose of enabling sales by these agents, but also serve as a platform to help solve the customer's issues and to take care of their service requests. Then comes digital lending. And digital lending, the idea is to reduce paperwork and enable end customers to initiate loan applications and credit applications on the digital channel. So you could think of personal loans, cards, home loans in the case of retail and micro, and SME loans or small business loans and asset finance in the case of SME and commercial segments, with the corporate segments providing for a greater interaction between the corporate through its digital channel and the bank for document uploads and for electronically signing the documents and providing to the bank. Digital collections. And here we have a collection portal which collection agents can use to not only view the collection tickets, but also figure out what kind of follow-up action is required from them when they interact with customers, and use the same collection portal to take customer response, let's say requests for restructuring loans or requests for payment holiday, or to even take in the actual payment request from customers. Finally, we have digital branch. With work from home now becoming a reality and a new normal, it means that branch staff now need to have access to branch software in order to provide to their end customers the entire branch experience, but now in a different delivery model. And so branch staff need to have a unified front end through a web-based application, which they can access from their own devices from wherever they are located, and enable them to help their customers in completing their transactions. So these are the solutions that VeriPark is now refocusing its energies given the current situation. Let us now take a look in detail at each of these 6 solutions. Let's start with digital origination and KYC. The idea here is to be able to complete an end-to-end process in the shortest possible time. And so the solution needs to have a few basic things. It needs to have application forms which end customers can use to fill and submit and thereby initiate an onboarding exercise. The process should support uploading and providing digital copies of documents from the end customer. It should also extend to undertaking customer verification through various mechanisms, including video call with a bank agent or face recognition through other means. And at the end of the process, the solution should be able to provide to the customer either an application form or an agreement which the customer can sign digitally or electronically and provide back to the bank. For those customers who are capable of visiting a branch or a kiosk, the solution will extend to providing functionalities around instant card issuance or instant check issuance. And for SME customers, the solution should go beyond whatever we have stated to also take into consideration the shareholders and the directors and use that information to support KYC. One great example of how this solution has been implemented is Akbank, a large bank in Turkey, with whom VeriPark has been working to help provide digital customer acquisition capabilities. Let us now see a demo of how this would work. So we are moving to a portal which a retail customer can access, and the retail customer or individual customer can initiate an onboarding exercise from the portal. The portal asks for the customer's mobile number and asks the customer to input a CAPTCHA code. It also sends to the customer an OTP to the mobile number, and once the OTP is verified, the customer can then progress to the next stage. In the next stage, the customer is asked to provide a document, in this case an ID proof, and the customer can upload an ID, let's say a passport. The system will take this, apply OCR on top of this document, on top of this passport, and that OCR will parse the document, extract the relevant data, and fill up the data elements that you see on the screen. The customer can also provide details around residence address, office address, and let's say he's working from home, and employment details. So let's say monthly income of 10,000 with the employer being Airtrain Holdings. This is basic information or demographic information on the customer. That leads the customer to the next stage, which will then ask the customer on the type of account, transaction account that the customer wishes to open. And it also asks the customer for things like an e-statement. So let's say sole account, e-statement, and account currency. Let's pick US dollar. It also asks the customer what products they want to invest in. So let's say personal loan is the product requested with an amount of 25,000, tenor of 3 years, and a start date of 1st June. With this information, the customer is then provided with a set of documents that the customer needs to provide. But there are various mechanisms offered to the customer to provide these documents. One option could be customer will take a picture on the mobile phone and then send the picture across. Or the customer might say, I will come with physical copies of my documents, come to the branch. So I will take an appointment, visit the branch, submit the documents. Or it could be, I will upload the documents from here itself. Or finally, I will ask for a bank agent or a representative to visit myself at my premise, to whom I will hand over the documents. For our demonstration purpose, let's go with, I will upload the document from here. The passport that we uploaded earlier appears here. The customer has to now upload a utility bill. And so let's pick a utility bill and provide that. And for bank statement, the customer says that I will provide later. So based on a configuration, the customer is presented with all these various options in order to complete the step of providing documents. And so that leads the customer to the next stage. And in the next stage, the customer will be provided with either an application form or an agreement copy, which the customer has to then sign and provide to the bank. And we will see the case where the customer provides this agreement or application copy using digital signature. So here comes application signature, and it is now invoking DocuSign, using which the customer will sign the document. So here is the document. The customer can read through the document, indicate the signatures on every page, and DocuSign then attaches the signature wherever the customer has said sign here. And once that is done, he can go ahead and complete the process. Now it provides to the customer a summary of the fact that the process is done and leads the customer to the last stage, which is where the customer has to verify himself or herself with a bank agent. One of the ways to do that is by making a video call to the bank agent. Once the video call is made, the bank agent can physically verify the customer and can also ask the customer to share a copy of the document. And once the agent says this is good to go, that particular onboarding and the associated product application is moved to the relevant backend system. So that completes our demonstration of the digital origination and KYC process supported by document upload, OCR, electronic signature, and video call with the agent. Let us now look at the next scenario, which is omnichannel servicing. Once a customer is onboarded, the customer needs to be serviced, queries need to be handled, service requests need to be taken. And the idea from VeriPark is to use one application and one back office to manage the interaction with the customers across multiple channels. The channel coverage from VeriPark is quite rich, from mobile banking to online banking, contact center, kiosks, and extending to transaction chatbot as well as speech banking. The fact that all of this is built on top of a Dynamics 365 platform brings not only integration capabilities, but also leverages the power of processes within Dynamics 365. There is also a rule engine which is invoked for making sure that the processes are routed to and handled by respective teams in the bank. And there is business logic which can be built within the solution. And this business logic can be applied at different points in the process. One example of this is Barclaycard in Germany, which has deployed this solution on cloud and is using one application to manage multiple channels of interaction with customers across mobile, internet, and contact center. And Barclaycard is handling 1 million plus customers with about 1.4 million credit cards. Digital sales. Like we discussed before, with customers reducing their branch visits, it is now up to banks to make sure that an agent goes and visits customers and helps customers to transact with banks. Once appointments are taken either by the telesales team or by some other team, those appointments are then routed to direct sales agents. And these agents will then communicate with customers either from a remote location or visit the customers wherever feasible and possible. And in order to do this, they need to have the power of CRM on their devices, either mobile phones or tablet applications. These tablet applications also come with a client needs assessment survey, which helps the sales agent to understand what is it that the customer wants And then on that basis, helps the agent to suggest to the customers the relevant products. And when the customer is interested, carry that process forward by initiating an application using an inbuilt process supported by forms, document uploads, and so on. The tablet application is not just about sales. It also includes capability of supporting a customer's transactions and handling a customer's service requests and inquiries. One great example of this is Wakif Bank, a large bank in Turkey, who implemented this solution. And after they implemented the solution, they now have or do about 15,000 weekly appointments, which are routed to about 2,600 direct sales agents. And these then result into about 3,500 of applications a day. Wakif Bank also found that using this solution improves their speed of processing loan applications. That gets improved by 8 times. So these are some statistics and that Wakif Bank found when they used the solution. Let us now take a look at how this solution would look like. What is coming up on your screens is a 360-degree view of an individual customer. But this is the view from within CRM. And while this gives a complete picture of the customer's relationship with the bank, it is best suited for a branch kind of a situation where a relationship manager or a sales agent is using the solution on the desktop or a laptop in order to prepare for an upcoming meeting. This might be or might become a bit too crowded for a direct sales agent who has to use this information on a form factor which might be different from a laptop or a desktop. Think of mobile or tablet application. So now let's switch and show you how the same view looks like on a tablet device. So what we have here is the dashboard on a direct sales agent's tablet application. It has announcements from the bank, their sales pipeline, activities in terms of meeting customers. It also has all ongoing sales opportunities and any pending documents that they need to collect from customers in order to complete ongoing applications. There are a set of shortcuts that the agent could use in order to initiate an activity or a transaction right from this particular dashboard itself. This dashboard also gives access to a set of clients, and getting into one of them helps the sales agent to view the 360-degree of a particular customer. So here is the same 360-degree view, same data, now presented to the agent in a different form factor, which is optimized for a tablet device. It consists or it provides a summary of the customer, the next best action, key indicators which the bank has configured to track a particular individual customer, alerts which have been raised from CRM, offers that this customer is eligible for, and all the ongoing sales opportunities for product applications and customer service requests and complaints, which we call as cases. It also gives a summary view of all the products, accounts, contracts which the customer holds with the bank. And all this information, while the helps the agent be ready to answer any query that the customer might have. In a sales situation, the agent can straight away initiate a sales opportunity right from here. So this brings up the opportunity process flow. And on the top of the screen, you can see that there is a structured process flow which is being followed. There is the section where the agent can update a customer's financials if there has been any change. And when he moves next, it gives him the opportunity to select any particular loan that the customer is applying for. Let's take personal loan as an example. He can select not only the loan amount, but also the tenor, and that would give an automatic calculation, and he can put a rating and some sales notes. He can add this particular product to the basket and use the same form to add additional products if the situation is like that, and then proceed to the next step. The next step now brings up a document rendered on the tablet application. Again, this could be a letter of interest, it could be an application form, or it could be agreement. The agent can present it to the customer, and the customer could sign indicating an acceptance of whatever is presented. And that would lead the agent to the next stage, which is ask the customer for a set of documents that the customer needs to provide in order for this product application to progress to the next stage. Once again, these are all configured from CRM and made available on the tablet device or the tablet application. He can either provide these documents right now by taking an image using the tablet camera, or he can say we'll submit later, and then he can move to the next stage. The next stage allows the agent to review all the information and make sure that it is sufficient in order to make progress this to the confirmation stage. And once the application is confirmed, the solution comes back with a reference number and sends this information to CRM in order for the application to be processed by the back office. The reference number can be provided by the agent to the customer, and the customer can use a reference number in all future communications with the bank. So this was how a direct sales agent can use a tablet device and an application on the tablet device in order to not only view the customer's details, but also initiate a product application. Let's move to digital lending. The idea of digital lending is to digitalize the entire lending process through use of a lending portal, which can support both existing as well as new clients in terms of the lending applications. These lending applications could be for a variety of products. For retail, it could be personal loans, mortgages, credit cards. It could be supported by document uploads, bank statements, financials, ID proof, salary letters, and so on. Or for SME kind of customers, it could be small business loans as well. Once the documents are provided, they are subject to OCR. OCR will then parse the document content and extract the relevant information. For those customers whose score is known or is available, automatic or instant decisioning rules can be applied, and approval or rejection can be provided as an outcome. For other types of customers, a rule engine can be invoked. A set of product policies and business rules can be configured in that rule engine, and those product policies could be applied across the process to make sure that the policies are followed. And this is what digital lending is all about. One such example is a bank called Enpara, a pure online or digital bank, part of a larger banking entity. This bank serves 1.25 million individual customers and 30,000 plus SME borrowers. And after they went live with this solution, they found that their net promoter score is as high as 77%, with 50% of their customers coming through referrals from existing customers. And they also gave a promise to their end customers that in case required, their customers could reach a banking representative on the phone within a matter of 30 seconds. So this is an example of how Enpara used the system effectively. Let us now take a look at a demonstration which shows how the solution could be used by an existing customer, an individual customer, to apply for a loan. So the individual customer is logging in. On login, the customer is presented with a dashboard, and the dashboard gives information on the customer's product holdings. It has details of any offers that the customer is eligible for and any ongoing sales applications that the customer might have initiated, plus any service requests that again the customer has initiated. In our example, we will apply for a loan. So we are invoking loan application. And here we have an opportunity for the customer to change any existing data, in this case, financial data or months in service. Once that is done, the customer is presented with the underlying products for which applications are supported. Let's pick personal finance. The customer then applies, let's say, for $30,000 with a tenor of 36 months. And so the customer is presented with an initial disclosure statement. And this disclosure statement talks about the various fees and charges that are applicable. Once the customer confirms, customer can then say what is the request, why it is being asked, so business purpose, and can also provide bank details if any fees and charges are to be recovered from the customer using direct debit. Moving on to the next stage, document upload. So the customer can now provide documents. So let's pick the same passport and the utility bill that the customer uploads. And for salary certificate, customer says will provide later. And that leads us to the next stage. The next stage is, once again, like we saw in the onboarding situation, presenting to the customer an agreement or a loan application or a contract. Not only presenting it, but also giving an option to the customer to sign this particular document digitally. So when he clicks on sign, the digital signature stored in the DocuSign solution or any other such similar solution is brought and appended or attached to this document. So once the customer completes this process, that leads to an agreement being signed or confirmation of the agreement being signed. And then it provides a summary to the customer so the customer can see what they have applied for. And on confirmation, it gives a reference number which the customer can quote in any future conversation with the bank. And this now triggers off application processing in the bank's backend systems. So this was an example, a demonstration of how a customer can initiate a lending application on a digital channel. Let us now look at digital collection. And the idea here is to use a collection engine, which is Dynamics 365 based, which helps the bank put in place a collection strategy per segment. And that segment can be defined on the basis of different parameters. It could be based on the number of days overdue buckets. It could be based on customer segment itself or on the amount of the overdue or the product or a combination of these kinds of parameters. And this strategy, when defined by the bank, helps put in place a series of activities using which the bank can communicate with the customer, either, for example, on the mobile phone or as an email or as a phone call, which is assigned to a collection agent. And the collection agent will now have access to a collection portal. And the collection agent could be working remote or working from home. And the collection agent will use this collection portal during the conversation with the customer, also has access to the underlying collection ticket, so knows the details of why he's conversing with the customer, and can use the portal to initiate or take the customer request for a payment holiday, for example, for asking restructuring of the loan, or for making a payment. And one great example of this is Commercial Bank of Africa in Kenya, which deployed this solution and then found that it is able to manage 600,000 collection tickets each month. It also found that the collection cost of collection reduced significantly, and the percentage of non-performing loans as a ratio of overall portfolio also decreased significantly after the solution went live. Digital branch. With branch staff now working from home and that becoming a new normal, it means branch staff need access to branch software, and the branch software therefore has to be web-based, enabling such access. And it should give to branch staff a unified front end which enables them to undertake financial transactions for their customers, plus added functionality of being able to put in place customer information update or capture new sales opportunities for customers or service requests, and therefore enable them to do multiple roles of a teller and a seller and graduate to becoming universal bankers. That is what the digital branch solution helps bankers to do. It also provides support for remote tellers, where tellers could be remote and help customers complete their transactions when they visit a teller machine or an interactive ATM. And if they are working from a physical location, a branch, for example, it offers support for teller cash recyclers, which manage physical cash in terms of holding them inside the machine, dispensing them, counting them, and so on. And all of this then sets up the bank for putting in place a branch of the future whose main themes are paperless, and cashless. Couple of examples here. ING Bank in Turkey deployed this solution and found that there is a 50% reduction in customer wait time in branches and a 76% reduction in the time taken to onboard a customer, as well as a 50% reduction in time spent on training new employees. And what ING did was to completely redesign their branches with the front portion of the branch now left for customer self-service, either through kiosks or through tablet devices, and the back of the branch left for those situations which require interaction between the customer and a bank representative. All of this contributed to increase customer experience, employee engagement, as well as drive sales and reduce the operational expenditure. And here is another couple of examples of how they designed that interaction area between the customer and the banker and put in place kiosks on the right hand side of the screen that customers could use for self-service. In addition to kiosks, customers could also use tablet devices in order to complete the transactions on their own. Another example of a bank doing this is Act Bank, which also redesigned its branches and redesigned the role and functionality offered by the branches. It put in place devices that customers could use to conclude their transactions, and there was support for teller cash recyclers that we spoke about earlier, which tellers could use in order to complete cash handling. So to summarize what we discussed today in terms of the themes for digital banking solutions revolve around origination and KYC, omni-channel servicing, sales, lending, collections, and bringing branch functionalities to the digital platform. It has been an absolute pleasure for us to deliver this webinar in the current situation on themes which probably are relevant to how banks will respond to the current situation. We hope this has been useful for you as well to give you an overview. We would like to thank you for your time in listening to us. Thank you and have a good day.
So thank you very much, Girish, for this presentation. I would now like to give the floor to Zubair Ahmed for the conclusion.
Thank you, Catherine.
Hi, Zubair.
First of all, Girish, thank you for your presentation and the demo. I can see that we have received a number of questions, which is great in terms of keeping the session interactive. I will certainly try to answer a few questions here, and post this webinar, VeriPark team will respond to each and every question or comment that we have received in an offline fashion. My name is Zubair Ahmed, and I'm the General Manager for Middle East and Africa for VeriPark. Before I proceed to Q&A, I would like to spend just maybe 2 to 3 minutes in addressing the next challenge in the scheme of things. Once a bank or a financial institution has developed its vision to solve the problem at hand and have seen a number of solution options, the next big challenge is to create this massive change management drive within the organization. Given VeriPark's extensive 20+ years experience, during which we have led and executed multiple programs for more than 80+ banks and financial institutions all over the world, we have accumulated practices which help us navigate this critical step, and we do this very well using 3 main principles. The first one is to have program governance and alignment. This means that the bank, VeriPark, and all its technology partners are aligned towards a common vision. We also ensure to proactively engage all the critical stakeholders within the company, such as your compliance, operations, risk, IT, digital, HR, alongside all the other business teams. This way, everyone within the bank is aware of how the change affects them, and personally, Also, the expectation from their specific roles towards the success of the overall bank's vision. So that's the first principle. Second principle is around execution, getting it done. And since the vision is yours, and so is the chosen solution, hence it's very important that the execution is also completely under your control. And VeriPark becomes the expert extended hands for you to implement this change. We do this by closely collaborating with your transformation and project management office to understand your organizational cultural maturity and preferences so that we can deploy the program approaches which are most apt and relevant to your business. So we tailor our process to match yours. We start the engagement with detailed program plans and make sure that jointly these plans are tracked on a regular basis to identify, review, and most importantly, mitigate risks as they become visible throughout the course of the program. So the first principle is around program governance and alignment at the top of the pyramid. And second is about the execution. And this brings us to the third one. And the third principle is about enabling business for realization of benefits. This is why the business originally started, ventured out, and did the investment, which actually means adoption of the new normal, which happens to be your newly implemented VeriPark system within your IT ecosystem. But it also comes with a set of new processes that you have re-engineered or extended along with the system or the approach that you have implemented, and a brand new set of expectations from your staff who are busy serving your end customers. Over the years, we have learned new ways in which adoption can be done, and it has to be planned effectively and successfully from the very start. So it's not an afterthought. This being said, I thank you once again. You took the time to be with us today. We are really privileged to have you. And I'm ready for some questions now, Catherine.
Thank you, Zubair. I'm reading a first question here. Someone asked if we're able to integrate into a wider range of internal systems or only to specific ones.
So this is a key question, Catherine, because it's a cause of concern for many banks and financial institutions. They've already invested heavily into their existing IT infrastructure and the roadmap that they have. VeriPark set of solutions are not alien to that. So we have a good understanding of the business architecture, and we develop that with you as to what business architecture that you want to produce. And the technology architecture that VeriPark brings has to be seamlessly aligned with your existing solutions, be it your core banking solutions, your treasury systems, your trade finance, and so forth. So the short answer is yes. VeriPark, within its suite of products, have a dedicated layer called VeriLink, which is a collection of adapters, integration adapters that are pre-designed for some of the famous systems that we have interacted with in the past. And if we encounter a new system, our approach towards integration is no code or low code. And it's literally drag and drop mapping of elements. And we have proven to achieve that very fast. So we will pull in data from the rest, the existing part of your organization and systems, all that knowledge that you accumulated from the customer's perspective. And then we are able to bring it into our systems. CRM, for instance, if you choose to go that path, and to show you the 360, 720 view of your customers.
Thank you, Zubair. I see we also have a few practical questions here about this presentation and the recording. So yes, everyone will receive a link to the recording of this webinar within 3 hours today. And you will also receive the presentation and additional information. So I don't know if we have time for another question.
Perhaps we can take one more, Catherine.
Yes.
I think I went through a few of the questions myself, and there was one very interesting one. The question is, does the solution work with customer visitor data in any way? Are there online marketing tools present? Is emailing included as a feature? So from a campaign management perspective, most of VeriPark's solution that Girish took us through intermingled seamlessly within each other. One component is the campaigns, marketing campaigns, both inbound and outbound. And our systems integrate with all communication mechanisms that a typical bank has, including social. So the email components, creating lists to target customers, feeding those lists into your CRM system, integrating with your telephony to generate calls, to receive calls, is all part and parcel. And this is how the entire experience to serve your customers becomes seamless. In addition to that, when a call is received in the contact center, how the CTI integration is done and the pop-up happens and all the customer information instantly becomes available, pulled from different systems within your bank to show the agent even before the hello and initial words are exchanged. The agent is completely empowered with information as to who's calling, what could be the possible reason, what was the last interaction, what kind of product portfolio the customer has with you, and what could be the next best offer. So I'll see how this conversation goes. And if there's an opportunity, I know exactly through heuristics, through intelligence, through my data models at the back, my bank systems are telling me that this could be the next propensity buy for this customer. So it's well integrated.
Okay, thank you very much, Zubair, Bomil, Girish, all three of you for being here and presenting. I want to thank the audience as well for attending this webinar. And you see here on the screen where you can send your additional questions to. So please don't hesitate if you would like a one-on-one meeting, a presentation of a particular feature that's interesting for your company. Don't hesitate to reach out to us. We will be more than happy to engage with you. And I wish you all a good day or a good end of your day, depending on where you are in the world. Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.